Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors.
So Donald Trump attended church yesterday, and little did he know the pastor would be woke. Now, this is definitely an issue with big mega churches. That's why, as I've kind of gone on my church journey looking for a church, I'm not looking for any big non-denominational monster church because, quite frankly, it's just not worth it. Too many of them seem to have some weird political bent or something of that nature. And I don't generally ascribe that nonsense to all churches or all people in the church. I know there are some good churches, some bad churches, some good people, some bad people. But he accidentally attended a woke church yesterday, and it was comedy gold. And the story behind the preacher who was there is also even more hilarious, as people now call for their deportation. Let's take a look. By the way, thanks everyone for tuning in to my daily live streams at 1 o'clock Eastern. You can follow the live stream channel by downloading Rumble and following the quartering, which is where I ideally would like to see you. But if you're a YouTube only person, you can follow Quartercast. Link is in the description below, trying to get that channel to 100,000 subscribers. Had about 8,500 people tuned in for yesterday's live stream. So it's really, I'm so happy and thankful that you guys are tuning in. So please, if you can, download the Rumble app, follow the quartering, or if you don't want to download another app, I understand. I still hope you'll tune in over on Quartercast. Now, I love Vance's reaction here. Not only is it comedy gold, but it's what we're all thinking. Here he is at this woke church.
In the name of
Watch
our God,
Vance.
I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country.
She's literally scolding Trump.
Now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in...
No, there isn't. There are no trans children. They're just whatever it is that, Munchausen by proxy or whatever. By the way, watch JD Vance's face. This dude's going to be the next. Watch his face. It is so good. If you're an audio-only listener, this is one time, or if you're just someone else, you're going to want to watch this.
In our country.
Watch his face.
We're scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic families. Some
oh my God.
Their lives. And the people who pick our
Look
crops
at his face.
and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants.
Oh my God.
Who wash the
Who will
dishes
pick your
after
crops?
we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation.
Trump tunes out. She's rolling.
JD
Vance rolling his eyes.
Not criminals. They pay taxes.
Yes,
they are good neighbors.
They are in fact criminals. When they cross the border, that's committing a crime.
They are faithful members of our churches and mosques,
Ooh, mosques.
synagogues,
Nice. Yeah.
wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land.
Oh my God.
May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God.
Indeed.
For the good of all people in this nation and the world. Amen.
I mean, are you joking? Are you joking? Like, get out of here. Of course, Trump watches in disbelief as woke bishop scorns him about trans kids fearing for their lives. I don't really think that's a real thing. You know, I mean, it is so wild. It is absolutely bonkers to me that this would be a real thing. Bishop Buddy, female, of course, directly addressed Trump directly in a highly political speech from the pulpit during a traditional inaugural prayer service. She told Trump to have mercy. The liberal clergywoman then asked Trump to have mercy on illegal immigrants. She said, they pick our crops. I mean, why is it that that the left is always like this? The left is always like, slavery bad, but who will pick our cotton? Who will pick our cotton? I mean, are you joking with this nonsense? Are you absolutely out of your gourd with this nonsense? I just don't understand. You know, I don't know on what planet they're living on. Now, interestingly enough, Trump maintained his calm and appeared to look slightly weary after a full day and night of inauguration festivities. But some other members of the congregation seemed uncomfortable as they listened to the bishop's diatribe. Despite the awkward silence in the cathedral, Bishop Buddy continued her stunning pro-migrant scolding of the president. She added that our God teaches us to be merciful to the stranger, for we are all strangers in this one strange land. Later, Trump declined to publicly criticize the bishop, probably smart. Asked about the service by reporters at the White House, he said, "What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting?" "Not too exciting, was it? I think it was a great service." However, Republicans and MAGA supporters eviscerated the bishop. The person giving the sermon should be added to the deportation list. But Representative Mike Collins, Buddy, champions leftist causes through her ministry. On her diocese website, she boasts as serving as an advocate and organizer in the support of justice concerns, including racial equity, preventing people from ending each other's lives, immigration reform, and full inclusion of LGBTQ persons and the care of creation. Look, I don't have any issues with LGBTQ people. I find it curious that the church seems to want to ignore their own. This is the problem with the modern churches getting woke. You know, like this is the huge problem. You know, that the church is woke, and this is why I don't attend these big churches. It's nonsense. The liberal activist bishop who told Trump to show mercy to LGBT kids says she called out the president because it was her responsibility to counter. Oh, she ran right to CNN.
Bishop, I appreciate your time and your tone there, so serious and genuine. You see him, he's stone-faced, he then looks down, but he's listening to every word you say. As you made that personal plea to him, what were you looking at him in that moment? What kind of response were you perhaps hoping for in that moment?
I was looking at the president because I was speaking directly to him. I was also, frankly, as you do in every sermon, speaking to everyone who was listening through that one-on-one conversation with the president, reminding us all that in the people that are frightened in our country, the two groups of people that I mentioned are our fellow human beings, and that they have been portrayed in all throughout the political campaign in the harshest of lights that I wanted to counter as gently as I could with a reminder of their humanity.
So you abused your
their
position
and their place in our
and
wider
made a political
community.
speech.
And I was speaking to the president because I felt that he has this moment now where he feels charged and empowered to do what he feels called to do. And I wanted to say, you know, there is room for mercy. There's room for a broader compassion. We don't need to portray with a broad cloth in the harshest of terms some of the most vulnerable people in our society who are, in fact, our neighbors, our friends, our children, our friends' children, and so forth.
So you spoke, I like how you use the word gently, because it
CNN's
was
finding
gentle.
religion now?
It was intense and passionate, but yet it was gentle. It was not ugly or confrontational.
It was ugly and confrontational.
Wouldn't expect it to be, but you know, these are hard things to talk about in that context. You spoke obviously about undocumented migrants, also the LGBT community, the two communities you're talking about. I wanted to play a little bit more of what you said, and also, again, the president's reaction at that moment.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in
No, there isn't.
Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives.
Don Jr. back
The
there.
vast majority of immigrants are not.
I mean, what an idiotic statement. Trump's rhetoric was not about trans people themselves, but the injection of it into everyday society. That's what's so ridiculous. Orange man bad, protect trans kids. Trump, yeah, whatever. It's embarrassing. And the way she worded it by insinuating as if he's going to round up all the LGBT kids. She's not a pastor. She's a rug-munching fraud making a dime off delusion. I mean, big if true. Absolutely bonkers, but hilarious reaction nonetheless. I can't wait till this stuff. Anyone in this, by the way, anyone who attends this church shouldn't be attending this church. I think God would find what modern leftists are doing to kids in terms of trans gender affirmation a sin. And I'm sure he would find it objectionable that people would be playing God in the biology of his creation. Just a thought. You know, I try to keep the channel not religious as I'm on my own kind of little religious journey, but it'll never be a big part of my content. But interesting stuff, funny stuff. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to tune into Quartercast, 1 Eastern over on Rumble. Follow the quartering there, or Quartercast on YouTube if you'd like. I just don't want to download another app. I respect that, and I respect you. I just want you to tune in, and we'll talk to you again real soon.